Hello there. You are listening to episode 6 of the Female Guides Requested podcast. I'm your host, Ting Ting, based in sunny Las Vegas. One evening in March, I had this pleasure to interview Mia Tucholke. Mia came to Colorado in 1985, intending to be a ski bum. She soon turned a new page and started her lifelong guiding career and eventually became the 16th woman in the U.S. to acquire the IFMGA Mountain Guide title. In this episode, she talked about her love for guiding. In her words, she loved to give her clients wings in order to accomplish whatever goals they set out for themselves. She also enjoys mentoring aspiring guides, male or female, because she appreciated all the help and encouragements she gained from the community along the way and loves to pay it forward. Mia's secret for preventing burnout is to diversify the terrains she guides. You can find her guiding and playing on rock, snow, and ice in Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good. I just got back from ice climbing today and I just got off Zoom from teaching Airy. So it's madness.
Oh my God, they might just catch you in a bad time.
Oh no, this is just how my life is. And I've never
Ooh,
used headphones, so this is going to be something new, but I just got these earbuds.
nice.
Okay.
So, what do you think? Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I can
Yeah,
hear you great.
and I'm also hearing just perfectly too.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I feel that I know you, but I actually haven't met you. you you have this big presence. I saw you up there all the time doing amazing things. Um, but I feel a little bit embarrassed that I can't pronounce your last name.
So it is Toholki. So
Toki?
Toholki. So
Tahoki.
if you look at the spelling and cross out the C,
Cross out the C.
and pronounce all the letters.
I see. Tahoki.
Tucholke. Yeah, Tucholke.
I'll,
Yep.
tr- I'll try my best because I have to do an intro for you. So, uh,
It's a hard one, but yeah, Tucholke.
nice. Yeah. I mean, I know what you do, but can you introduce yourself a little bit? Like, where are you based? Who do you work for? What kind of guiding do you do right now?
Basically, I live in Red Cliff, which is about 20 miles south of Vail, Colorado, and I have been there since 1985 in this general area.
Wow,
And
1985. That's been quite a while.
yep, in central Colorado. So most of my life I've been here. And I do guide full time for Colorado Mountain School, and I do guide in all the mountain disciplines. And I guess in the winter, my focus is on ice climbing and backcountry skiing, as well as avalanche education. And I typically guide rock climbing in Utah in the spring and in the fall. And then in the summers, I guide rock climbing and alpine climbing back in Colorado. So that's kind of my gist.
Wow. Do you even have an off season?
No, I do not really have an off season, but I do manage to take a lot of time off.
Nice. So I saw from your social media you just came back from a cool ice climbing instruction for women.
Yes, so I teach ice climbing a lot, and most of my clients are women, and it's I think they've just reached out to me because I am a woman, and there are not that many women ice climbers, and so it's been really, really fun to get out with other women and teach them how to ice climb because it's an intimidating sport, and but it doesn't have to be because
Right.
it's quite easy.
And then so I know there are not that many women ice climbers, but how about like other disciplines like skiing or rock climbing? Do you also you get mostly women or both genders pretty much?
Uh, I would say I get both genders, but it's common for me to have a female following, or yeah,
I
see
see.
how I should phrase that. I guess I mean I teach to all people, but because I'm a woman, I think more women reach out to me, even though I teach both, for all.
Of
I don't know.
course,
I don't know
yeah.
how to say it.
I mean, you
How to get.
certainly can guide everybody, but
Yeah,
somehow
right,
because your
right.
identity is a woman, so do they reach out to you directly, or maybe they go through the Colorado Mountain School and request a woman guide?
Yeah, I would say a lot of people come to me directly through social media, and then some go to Colorado Mountain School and ask for a female guide. But I do have both male and female followers that I take out into the mountains.
Nice. And how long have you been guiding?
Well, so when I moved to Colorado first in 1985, I just wanted to be a ski bum for a year. But that sort of morphed into doing other backcountry adventures, and pretty much started backcountry skiing right away. And so that's when I knew I had to get a ski job. And so I actually started out as a ski instructor in 1987. And then to complement that, I became a raft guide in the summers.
Ref guide, okay.
And yeah, and then that combination of ski instructor raft guiding earned me an internship at Colorado Mountain College. And I ended up working under a professor named Bruce Keim at the college. And he just supported me and encouraged me to expand my knowledge. And we became really good friends. And I ended up teaching many, many different courses with him at the college for many, many years. And in fact, I still teach a few courses at the college. So that's how the instructing started. And then eventually I took an ice climbing course, and that's where I met my husband, and he was an instructor. And so ice climbing has been a huge part of both of our lives ever since I took an ice climbing course. And the two of us would travel all over to seek out, wonderful, amazing frozen waterfalls. But then in the summer, I guess it was back in, oh, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I got a job rock climbing instructing in Moab.
In
And so I
Moab.
did that, yeah, in Moab, yeah. And so I was the rock climbing guide in Moab for about 5 years. And while out there, that's when I started to take the AMGA courses. So my first course was an SPI in 2012.
2012. You start, so you came to Colorado 1985, started instructing at 87, but you didn't start your ANGA track until 2012.
Mm, correct.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been teaching in the outdoor education world for a long time, and I'd heard about the American Mountain Guide Association, and it was a very intimidating entity. And
Intimidating in what way?
I thought that everyone that was an American mountain guide was a superhuman, and that there's no way, no how that I could ever become one of those. So I was just teaching and guiding locally for all these years. And then eventually, when I was teaching rock climbing in Moab, I had to take an SPI, and I was so nervous. And I had a wonderful instructor, and he said that I should take my rock guide course. And I told him, no, I can't do that. That is for super people. And he said, no, you should take it. And that's how it all started. And then there was one course after another, and before we knew it, I had completed all the courses, and I became the 16th woman in the United States to earn the IFMGA license.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. But I would like to dig a little bit deeper about that process too, because I teach SPI courses too. I met a lot of, say, women. They say that they are pretty intimidated. And so, and I've seen thousands of people that who would think that they might not keep going. So I feel that in order to be an IFMGA guy, you have to do ski, rock, Alpine, and so you have many courses exams. So in any turns that if you feel like afraid that you probably will not continue. So what kept you going?
Well, like I said, it all started with a SPI and just getting the support from my instructor and my examiner in that course and exam. And he basically said, you need to move forward. You need to take the next course. And I took it, and I was absolutely terrified, but it was such a good experience, and I learned so much. And the people, all the other students and the teachers, they were all absolutely wonderful. And I felt, well, I think I can keep going. And so I ended up doing the advanced rock guide course. And then someone told me, well, it's really a good idea to take a couple of courses in the other disciplines because they work together really well. So then someone suggested, because I knew how to ski, that I should take the ski guide course. And that one scared me the most because I thought that everyone was an absolute extreme skier. And there's no way that I could do that because I was not an extreme skier. But as it turned out, I did quite well, and I'm a pretty good skier, so that was not at all a problem with it. But for me, it was more in the intimidation of not being good enough, and it was it was amazing just overall just to have the support from the instructors along the way saying, you can do it. Just take another step and you can do it. And I felt that I got so much good mentorship along the way. And the the instructors, I mean, everyone just helped me. Everyone was so supportive, and both from a work standpoint and from a um, AMJ instructor team standpoint. Everyone was very, very, very supportive. So it was really amazing.
Nice. But I found it quite interesting you said that skiing was the most intimidating component because I read from the article, the common climber, you have the profile of you saying that
Yeah.
you start skiing when you were a kid back in
Yes.
Sweden. So I would
Yes.
assume that skiing probably is like the easiest thing for you.
Well, it's interesting because yes, I've skied my whole life and yes, I am a very good skier. But for some reason I had this vision that the skiing guides were extreme superhumans flying off cliffs and jumping out of helicopters and
I see.
skiing crazy lines in Alaska. And I just had a skewed vision. And so the skiing part was not um, the difficult part at all, as it turned out. And so, yeah, I don't
I
know.
see. Yeah. And I kind of assume that since when you enter the AMGA track, you already have a lot of guiding experience. So maybe that's why all the instructors see that, oh, come on, Mia, you can keep going on the advanced course at one after the other. Do you think that you could have started earlier and be just fine too?
Y yes, I think it would have been a lot easier to start much earlier and at a much younger age than I did, because I did start quite late with the AMJ process. And but at the same time, it took some years of maturity to realize that I could actually do it and have the confidence in myself and having the confidence in um, just taking another step forward and believing in myself. I think,
I see.
think sometimes when you're a little younger, you may not have that confidence in the same way.
I see. Then, based on your experience, what do you think? Because I've seen some people that come to me say, "Hey, do you think I can take the assessment, the SBI assessment?" And I think they are totally ready and capable, but they still have that doubt. So for me, I almost want them to just take it, but then they say, "Oh, I need to practice more and maybe wait another 6 months." So what do you find your experience to encourage or suggest people who come to you if they say, "Oh, Mia, do you think I'm ready to take the next level course?"
Well, the way I look at it is take a step forward and believe in yourself. And that is really the most important part. And realizing that somewhere along the line, there are going to be some speed bumps, and that's okay. You're going to learn from those speed bumps. It's not going to be a smooth road, and there are going to be some failures, and there are going to be some hard things along the way. But if you don't take the first step forward, you're you're losing out. And I think that is what I ended up doing. I took that step forward and it worked. And I've had many speed bumps along the way, but that's okay. You grow with those speed bumps as well. And I think it's important to just take a chance and go forward.
And can you then you were talking about speed bumps. Can you share like maybe like one of them with us?
Yeah. So, for example, I had an accident a few years back, and it was before I took my advanced Alpine course, and I had my left hand in a cast, and I had a torn rotator cuff, and but I hadn't had surgery on it yet.
Wow.
And so I went into the course, and I asked the examiners if I could still take the course, and they said yes, they would let me in. But there were certain parts of the course I couldn't do. So basically, after the course, I didn't have a completion because there were a few things I hadn't completed, like the movement and the rescue and a few other things like that. So I had to wait a full year because then a few months later I went in and had shoulder surgery, etc. And then it took a whole year of recovery. And then I could do my reassessment. And it was a year and a half later before I did a reassessment. So that was like from a course standpoint, speed bump. But then I've also had some injuries. Like I said, I'd had that rotator cuff surgery. And in my advanced ski guide course in Canada, I tore my ACL. And so that was another, you know, speed bump along the way. And so between the accidents and injuries that unfortunately can happen, but then also having things where you have to have retakes in the AMGA courses and exams. And I think most people end up having some failures and have to have a retake along the way. And it's okay. You learn from those.
Yeah, I remember maybe it's your profile video from the Colorado Mountain School website that you mentioned about you torn your ACL and then you have
Yep.
to ride your stationary bike. I think that was in Indian Creek, look like, right?
Yeah. So I basically I had my surgery and it was I think about April 1st.
Right.
And then the whole spring and early summer, we just brought the stationary bike with us everywhere. And wherever we went camping and where my husband went climbing, I would just put my stationary bike and
Just
ride my
rehab.
bike. Yep, yep. And it was part of the deal. Everyone else was out climbing, but you have to accept that those things happen.
Right, because I think one thing of being a guy is like I always tell myself, oh, I can't get injured because then you can't work. And but obviously sometimes you do get injured because we are doing a high risk job and very active. So what do you do nowadays to say prevent it from happening again, or do you have some sort of say the backup plan, say if you don't have work?
Yeah, it's that's a good question because I think you never know when things will happen, whether you're going to take a fall or a tumble or, I mean, anything can happen. So I think you can't really do much for prevention in that aspect. Um, but I'm fortunate because since I work with a Colorado Mountain School, they're very um, open to helping guides that get hurt, and you can work in the office and do other duties. So that is a good thing. And and then I do also now have long-term disability insurance. So if something was to happen, where I hurt a knee and I couldn't officially work for 6 months or something, I do have an insurance plan for that.
Nice. And
And
how long have
and
you worked for the CMS?
I started working for CMS in 2016.
2016. So it has been
Yep.
quite a few years.
Yep.
Also, one thing I kind of like to ask is like, I also watch your video. You say, oh, I want to guide for as long as possible. Maybe when you are as old as Fred Becky, which which is incredible. And so you kind of envision that you really enjoy guiding this much. You can do it as an old age too until your old age. And
Oh, yes.
so I want to like learn like what do you think is the best part about guiding?
Well, I think it's just so satisfying to take people out and make people learn a new skill, push their boundaries, try something new, um, go get a little afraid of something, and then seeing these smiles on people's faces after they have, overcome some fears or stood on the top of a mountain or learn how to ski down a ski run. It's so satisfying to see this on their faces because it's just happy. I like to see happy.
And do you have some favorite type of trip you like to do? Like, do you prefer any disciplines?
I actually like them all. And I think it's the variety that makes it fun. And that is something I also always tell people that if you just go down one path, I think the chance of getting a little burnt out is pretty big. But if you diversify and you do a variety of things, then it's always exciting and fun. Because I look at, for example, the areas I'm teaching avalanche education right now. I'm in a different area all the time, and it makes it really fun and exciting. And then in the middle of the avalanche education, I'm out ice climbing and I'm taking people ice climbing. And then in the middle of all of that, I take people backcountry skiing. So it's such a um, diverse job that I just don't get bored with it. And that is, I think, what makes it so much fun.
Nice, true. Maybe I should explore some other aspect. Right now, I'm only like rock climbing. Uh, I'm trying to climb
Yeah, you
different
should.
climbs, but sometimes you do feel like I do feel like I'm in the same area all the time. So it's kind of nice,
Yeah.
diversified it. So probably
Yeah.
you.
And I
Go ahead.
yeah, I like the idea of being diverse and and it doesn't have to be at crazy high extreme levels. It's just keeping it fun
Right.
and having a good variety. Yeah.
And in general, I can see that you grew up in Sweden. What kind of environment that was, like a mountain town or
Oh no, well, so I was actually born in Brazil
Brazil?
and then I lived And then I lived in Ireland, and then I lived in Sweden with my parents as a kid and teenager, and but we were city people,
Oh, okay.
so
Because you,
100% city.
I see, because
Yep.
you moved to Colorado in, you said Red Cliff, which is a mountain town, right? Very small.
Oh, very small.
Yeah.
Yes, four streets.
So, so then, and then, but you feel that's most at home,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yes.
So you rather the
If I go to
city
a bigger
person, you are
town,
actually more outdoor person.
yes, absolutely. So I grew up in the city, but I never liked it. I always tried to get out into the woods and run around and go sailing or skiing or always try to get away from the city. But that's where my family came from, was the city. Yep.
I see.
So no one in my family does anything outdoors.
Oh, you are the only one?
I'm the only one. Yep.
Wow. Did you even like take them out, say coming to, did your family visit to you in Colorado and skiing and ice
They are
climbing?
city people. They are all city people.
Oh, nice. Yeah, but somehow you're like different. It's very
Yep.
interesting. Um, but then I'm glad that you found Colorado very satisfying.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, and I know for people who love the mountains, Colorado is an ideal place. And so you're talking about you really enjoying guiding because you see people smile, people happy, either overcome difficulty or learn new skills. Can you share like some maybe the memorable moments or proudest moment with your clients? You're like, wow, just make you feel it's so great to be a guide.
Oh boy, there's so many memorable
I
moments.
know they
It's
gotta be.
yeah, it's hard to pick one. Um, but let's see. I mean, I think probably the one of the most memorable moments was a client of mine that he really wanted to climb Spearhead, which is a beautiful alpine mountain in Rocky Mountain National Park. And it would be a huge accomplishment for him because um he's from Texas and he's low altitude, and this will be a big thing. So we planned it as a 3-day adventure where we hiked in one day and we bivvied out, and the bivvies were in these rock caves. It was wonderful. And then we got up super early and we climbed the peak, and it tested him to its full capacity. But we made it all the way to the top, took a nap on the summit or almost on the summit, and then hiked back down and got back to camp. And then we sat around camp, and he couldn't have been happier. It was the most amazing experience ever. And you could just see it in his eyes. And then to top it all off, we're sitting there in the afternoon, and a herd of elk walked right by, and it was just a magical experience. And then we bivvied out one more night, and then we hiked out the next day. And this was now several years ago, and still, when I talk to him, he tells me that that's the best time he's ever had in his entire life. And it was pretty magical.
It's pretty magical, and you are part of the memory. It's so great.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I believe that when you mentioned that there are just so many moments like that that you see uh, from your guiding career. So I think that's why you
Yeah.
want to guide until you can't guide anymore, until you are also as
Yeah.
Fred Becky. Um,
Yeah. No, it's there's so many when you have people have success, it is just so wonderful. And you teach people new skills. And for me, guiding is not so much about going from A to B, but also learning something along the way. And it's a big part of my guiding. I really like to teach people along the way. And so when you get people that come to you and they want to learn, for example, how to lead trad climbing, And then you teach them and you work with them through the process. And then eventually you give them wings. And that's what I call it. I give them wings and they take off and they're leading their first trad climb. And it's so awesome. And then you see maybe a year later, and here they are, and they are climbing on their own and
Yeah.
doing it. And it's so amazing to see that.
I loved your what you said, give them wings. Because I have the general questions I usually like to ask is like if you need to give say guiding a job description, what would you say in one sentence? Maybe I mean give them wings is a very good job
Yeah.
description for your guiding. I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I would say that that is a big part of how I look at guiding. It's like I like to teach people to be on their own and have the skills to do it and essentially tell everyone that everyone can be a mountain guide if they want to. And so, yeah, in one sentence, I like to give people wings.
Nice. And then so do what do you see like what do most people come to you to ask for? Um, what do they ask to do typically? Most people.
Oh, it is such a variety.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I really like to create custom adventures. So, not so much guiding somebody up this one peak or up this one climb or skiing this one line, but more a custom adventure where they're working on a specific skill because they have a goal in the future. And so a lot of people come to me for more custom adventures. And I had one lady once, and she basically wanted to camp out in some harsh conditions so she could train for climbing Mount Vinson in Antarctica. And so that's what we did. We camped out in some really, really harsh conditions at about 12,000 feet in Colorado, and it was pretty nasty. And we suffered for a few days, and it was great. And then a month later, she flew down to Antarctica and she climbed Mount Vinson, and she said it was easy.
Wow,
And that
that's nice. Super cool.
and it made me really, really happy that, we created this little custom adventure for her to help her prepare. And so I like those kind of things.
Nice. I can kind of see that you have this mentor's attitude. Say, I want to help my client to be self-sufficient in the mountains,
I
achieve their
do.
goals.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do.
And
I do like to coach and guide my clients, and I always consider them my friends, and I always consider them part of the team. And I think it's important that they're always part of the team. And so I try to give them that ownership of their skill where they are a solid team player. And I think that's a really important part for me.
nice. And then, but on the flip side, did you find sometimes guiding has some challenging part? Like if
Oh
you,
yeah.
yeah, like the obstacle and challenges, what do you see common in guiding, or maybe for you, something that happened along the way?
Well, I mean, you don't always end up with people you get along with. And I think that is the reality. And so the good thing is that most people that come out into the mountains or want to enjoy the outdoors, they want to do it. But every now and then you actually end up taking people out that they're not really into it. They don't really want to be there. And I think that is really challenging. And no matter how hard you try and how positive you try to be, some people just they're just not on your page and it's like they don't want to be there. And I think that's a big challenge. But fortunately, that is not a common thing.
And so you say you guide full time, like in
Yes.
say typically how many field days that you have for a year?
Probably actual field days. Yeah, I probably do about 120 actual field
Wow,
days.
that's a lot. So let's come back a little bit. You mentioned you are the 16th woman in the States to
Yes.
get the pin, the
Yep.
IFMGA Mountain Guide. So I remember in one of the video, I think the profile video, you said that when you learned that there were few women, I think maybe only 1/10 women compared to men in the States have pursued their pin, you feel even more motivated to complete this journey. And why did you feel that way? Like you feel like you want to be a role model or something like that?
I think the biggest driving force for me to continue to pursue to become an IFMGA guide is just to show that yes, we can. And it's not just women, but it's all people. And for me, when I got my pin, I was the oldest person in the United States to get the pin.
Oh,
And that to me was such another driving force. And just the whole idea that yes, we can do this, and it doesn't matter who you are, we can all do this. And to me, I think that was probably my biggest driving force to continue forward. And because I feel like so many people think that to be a mountain guide, you need to be, young, 25-year-old white male. And it's kind of nice to start breaking those barriers down and showing that we can actually be mountain guides of all types of people. We can be old and tall and short, and it doesn't matter. And it's wonderful. And so the whole idea of yes, we can really was my motto along the way. And it was me and everyone else around me that I was going through the program with.
nice. And so you mentioned you were actually I watched a video from one of the scholarship you got from I think 2015 Petzl scholarship that for your Alpine guide course. I remember
Oh boy, that was a long time ago.
that was a long time ago. See, I did some research, and
Uh-huh, yeah.
and I remember. Obviously, your video probably didn't show the whole team, but obviously, all the instructors were male. And I didn't see another woman in the video. Were you the only woman in that course?
Yes. So in all the courses I've taken, I think I've only had three where we've had women.
Okay.
And I did my rock exam. We had a couple of women.
Oh, rock exam, nice.
And yep. And in my advanced Alpine and the Alpine exam, Norier and we were together in both of those.
Oh, no, yeah,
So
yeah.
that was yeah, so that was really wonderful. But other than that, there's been basically no women in any courses, and all the instructors have been male. Yep.
Okay. And did that affect you somehow? I mean, I obviously you pushed through, but I was just wondering what your mindset was during that time frame. Did you kind of feel a little intimidated or whatever? Did it affect you at all?
Yeah, I was never intimidated, but probably because I was older. And so my teammates, they were all younger and the instructors were younger, and it didn't really bother me because I felt comfortable in my skin. But I would say in general, as a woman, you unfortunately, but you do need to have some tough skin on your nose, and you need to be able to stand up for yourself. And sometimes that can be really, really hard. And but for me, I think having a little more maturity made it maybe a little easier.
Um, it seems like, according to what you just said, that all the courses exam has been pretty pleasant. So it seems like the peer or the instructor, they were pretty professional and supportive in a way.
Yes, I think all the courses um, have been, there's probably only been one that I did not enjoy. But other than that, they've all been really, really positive, good learning experiences. And the my peers have been very respectful and really nice. And so I feel very fortunate that it's been a super, super positive experience. And I suspect that um, that's the case in general because I think guides are pretty amazing people, and I think the instructor team, they're really amazing people. But but I do suspect that every now and then it can be intimidating, especially if you're a younger woman.
I see. And then you also feel like one course didn't go as well as you wanted. So maybe it would be nice for other women to know that sometimes maybe there will be some unpleasant moment, but in overall, it's gonna be a good experience.
Yes, I would say that you have to expect that there will be, again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, some speed bumps along the way, and maybe some moments that are a little more challenging. But I would say overall, the the peers and the instructor team, they're amazing. And now, of course, we have several female instructors, and that is really helping out a lot to change the culture.
And then I know that in the Common article, you also mentioned that the time has changed, and now it's just like you mentioned, there are more women instructors, and then maybe the community is also getting more diverse. So I would like to learn that because you start guiding since 1993, is that right? Sorry. And so it has been a while. I was wondering what kind of changes do you see in the guiding community or in the climbers community?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in the beginning, I mean, there were no women, and it was the men frequently would, say, "Hey, can I help you with this? And can I help you with that?" And just assuming that you can't manage by yourself. And slowly that is now changing where you can tell that the outlook onto women in the outdoor fields, is more positive and you're being respected. And I have many clients who are male, and they say they prefer to come to a woman guide because they feel more um, uh, not secure, but like there's more empathy and there's more trust. And the woman is not trying, the female guide is not trying to, um, you know, show off in a way that maybe some of the male guides do. And so, the we're starting to see more and more women guides, and especially in the rock discipline. And it's a positive thing, but it definitely didn't used to be like that.
This sound like tips you offer also on the Common Climber article. Say that first of all, you gotta believe in yourself, and then this another thing you're talking about, you need to speak up if you have doubts. So you are committed to speak up, and then it was related to this one snowy terrain that you fell badly on, so you are committed to speak up. And I found that it's kind of tricky because it took me quite a long time to finally have confidence in myself, feel like I'm good enough. And you also mentioned that at some point you also doubt that maybe you are not good enough. So how can we tell people, and what should we do, so what can we encourage them to do so then they can gain confidence in themselves? What do you think?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think to to get the confidence in yourself, you really do need some mentors and mentors that believe in you and that help push you within reason. And I think that is how you feel more confidence in taking those first steps. And believing in yourself is so important. And having a mentor to help you believe in yourself will make that process easier. Because sometimes, I mean, I had so many doubts in the beginning, but then I had so much support. And without that support, I would not have believed in myself. So I think that is really important. And then of course now it's hard to get mentorships. And so I think another way to look at it is the friendships, where we support each other in the journey. And I think that is a really powerful way to help each other get confidence is by being friends and supporting each other.
And then talking about mentorship, and then you mentioned you have good mentors yourself. And then can you name some of the bigger ones?
Oh boy. It's kind of hard to do. I mean, I can name so many, right?
I yes,
Uh, well, I would say my biggest mentor is definitely my husband. And
yeah. And then
he
you took
he
an ice
is
climbing course from him, right? Originally, like
that's how we
very.
met. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
so I would say my biggest mentor is my husband, and he is the biggest supporter of me and has helped me along the way fully. And there's so many others, and there's especially a lot of amazing people on the instructor team that really, really have been positive influences for me.
I'm always curious about husband because my husband is also my biggest mentor. When I met him, I was a relatively new climber, and he has been climbing for a long time. And I'm always curious about the dynamic because I've also seen a lot of couples, even they don't climb well together. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, do you find that you have to have some compromise or you have to do some adjustment to be able to climb well with your significant other?
Well, I think no matter who your climbing partner is, they're going to be some challenges at times. And but I would say I'm very lucky that, my husband and my main climbing partner, he is very, very supportive and very understanding. And and he does not mind doing things with me that I need to do to get better at my job, for example, or where we worked on training for some of my exams before, the AMGA program. So I think you have to just work through some of the challenges, but having a good partner is really important, and he has definitely been an amazing partner.
And then I know that you also take the role to mentor newer guides because I've seen some article on the blog of the CMS that is Colorado Mountain School has some structure set up for, say, the senior guys to mentor junior guys, or is it all happen organically?
Yeah, we don't have a structure. It's very, very organic. But they encourage us to do training programs for the junior people. And of course, I really, really enjoy to do the all women mentorship, courses or weekends or outings or whatever it may be. And uh, and so CMS definitely encourages that.
I'm also curious about like balance between like guiding and also other stuff. For example, did you choose like especially for women? I know some women choose to have kids, but I don't have kids. And then do you have kids?
No.
Okay. Did you choose not have kids because you want to maintain your lifestyle as a guy, or maybe for other reason?
Well, I never wanted to go down that direction because I just wanted to live life the way I wanted to live it. And so that's always been very important to me to have that choice. And I'm happy that that is an easy choice to have in this country.
And how about you think, you mentioned that you work as a full time, but you still manage to have enough time to do your trip. So did you find it hard to balance between say your personal playtime in quote and then guiding other people?
I would say that there are times when managing the time is hard because you may have to work for a big block of time, for example, for a couple of months. So you have to work a lot and you may not really have much free time or much family time. And so that can be a little bit hard. But I've figured out that if I do that, then I can take longer periods of time off in between. And so it for me that balance works pretty well. So for example, right now I'm working a lot in the winter, and then come spring, I'm going to work very little and I'm going to spend a lot of time out in the desert. And that will make me really happy. And I'll also be guiding out in the desert, but not super much.
So you mentioned that kind of diversify the terrain you work on is like one of the good tips to prevent burnout. And I'm also curious, like any other tip that you could offer, because I'm wondering burnout could be like one of the serious problems some guys have.
Yeah, I think a lot of guides get burned out because they're stuck in one terrain. And whether it's just teaching single pitch rock or just, taking people up Mount Rainier or whatever it may be, but they're just stuck doing one thing. And I think burnout is a really big factor then. So I think the more you diversify, and you don't necessarily have to go up in the AMGA program to all the different levels, but I think if you do go across, so maybe do the Alpine skills course or do the ski guide course if you are a good enough skier, or at least do some of the base courses. And that way, that opens up some more doors where you can work in other disciplines. And I do think that is really important. And if some of those other disciplines are not of interest, then maybe some other guiding entities. Like I was a raft guide for 10 years, and that was really fun. I was a canyoneering guide for a few years, and that was really fun. So having a little bit of diversity in maybe some other sports can also keep keep it alive.
Nice. And how about like your outlook, like your future plans for guiding or your personal trips and all that? And I'm also curious, like, have you ever thought about going to Europe and guide? I know a lot of IFMGA guys said they go to Europe and guide, especially you're from, you live in Europe before.
Yeah, no, I left Europe. I lived there and
Yes.
I was there. Now I'm here. But no, I really enjoy the smaller trips, the more local trips. I'd like to come home. It's nice to know I don't have to do the huge adventures. And I've done adventures in the past, but I don't feel I need to do those for from a guiding standpoint. And yeah, I think just staying more local is really nice. And then when we go on vacation, we travel, but a lot of it we travel in this country. And we go on big ice climbing trips or rock climbing trips or something like that. And that fulfills that part for me. But I definitely have no desire to go to Europe and guide.
So you mostly guide in, say, Colorado, the Rockies, and the desert in Utah. Is that
That will be the most of it. Yep.
yeah? And do you guide in other places outside Colorado and Utah?
Wyoming, I guess. Yeah, so
Wait. Oh,
Colorado,
the
Utah,
VW, right?
Wyoming.
I saw your
Yep.
off-west climbing clinic. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes down in Red Rocks.
Oh, okay. You come to Red Rocks too. So, I mean, next
Yep.
time you come to Red Rock, let me know. I would love to see
Oh,
you in
absolutely.
person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I asked this because if people want to find you, if they want to go visit Colorado and do say skiing, right, ice climbing, or some alpine climbs, they can find you there. And
I'm easy to find. Yeah.
so, what's the best way to find you?
Uh, Probably, I mean, I'm public, so I mean, Instagram,
Instagram. Okay.
is an easy one. I
Mountain
mean,
Mia,
my
right?
email, Mountain Mia, yep.
Yeah.
And my my profile is on the Colorado Mountain School webpage under the guides. So I'm very easy to find.
Great. I will
It's
make
not
sure that I put all those on the show notes for this episode for sure. So they would definitely be able to find you. And yeah, and what else do you think you want to tell the listeners? I mean, I don't know who are my listeners. Probably mostly female guys and all female guys want to be. So, any words of encouragement that you want to tell them?
oh boy, I don't know what I can think of right now, but you can surely, after you synthesize some of this information, send me another email and we can
For sure.
connect briefly again if you want to. If you have things, but if you feel like, oh, I want to ask her this, or I want to
Mm-hmm.
ask her that, or this, so just reach out again if you feel like you want to ask some more questions, and I'll think about it too. But I don't know if I can think of anything right now. You've been pretty thorough.
Great. Yeah. And thank you so much for your time. It has been a very pleasant conversation.
Yes, I
Yeah.
know. I'm so excited.
And then it's
Yeah, I'm so
late.
excited to I'm
Yeah,
finally
finally.
meeting you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, next time if somehow, I mean, I used to go to the desert, I mean, Utah desert a lot. And if you come to Red Rock, we definitely should meet up.
I know. Yeah, because I mean, we know so many of the same people.
I mean, the guiding community, I mean, it's getting bigger, but it's actually still not that big. So I think
Right. Yeah.
eventually, yeah, we all know each other, especially, well, cross my fingers that more and more female guides, so I might not be able to keep track of most of them, but I think for right now, I still know a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's good. It's a good group of people.
yes,
Yeah. And now
definitely.
in Red Rocks, you have some wonderful. I mean, I love Tracy and Elena. I mean,
Nice.
Tracy's helped me a lot.
Oh, I didn't
And
even know that. Yeah.
yeah, before my rock exam, I went out with her for a few days.
Okay.
And yeah, and she was wonderful.
Yeah.
Just helping me get through a few things,
Right.
before
And
the
I
rock
think that's
exam.
the beauty of a community is like sometimes I think in the past I always just like, oh, I should not ask for help. But the thing is actually people are so willing to help people. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think we can just put it out there. I mean, sometimes we can't do it because we are working or something, but most of the time, if we can help, we would definitely try our best.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's important because it's give and take.
Yes.
And I mean, I've had a lot of people help me, and now it's time for me to help others. And I really, really enjoy helping other, guides. And it doesn't just have to be women, it can be any people. And I really enjoy helping people taking those steps and giving them wings and moving forward. It brings me
Yeah.
great joy.
I definitely is gonna put that tagline right next to your episode. Give them wings. Yeah, I really love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, thank you
yeah,
so much. Yes, it's
absolutely.
been very fun. And then you must be tired. So I wish you have a great night.